Alright, so this video is going to go over die Vergangenheit, or the past. Feel free to stop the video, rewind, or leave a question in the comments if you have one. So, die Vergangenheit. Some people may say that if it's in the past, then it doesn't matter. But that really isn't true because you need the past in order to know things. We need to know what people did. We need to know what they found and learned, and so we can move on to the future. So let's start with the past in German then. Simple past. There are two forms of the past in German. The simple past is the first one. So, ich sagte in German means the following in English. I said, I was saying, I did say. So you may say German is hard, but really we use three different ways to say the past tense in English, whereas German just has ich sagte. So that means all of these things in English. So let's move on to conjugating it. There are also two types of verbs in German, regular weak verbs or irregular strong verbs. Regular weak verbs are the easiest of them because they follow a pattern. So the pattern is you take the stem and add the coordinating ending. So sagen is the infinitive, sagen to say. The stem is the infinitive minus the en, so sag. And then you add the simple past regular endings. T, test, t, ten, tet, ten. So ich sagte, wir sagten, sie sagten. It's pretty straightforward. So for example, kaufte gestern einen Kühlschrank. Ich hörte dich. Wir machten letzte Woche die Hausaufgaben. Tanztet gestern Abend. Except for those exceptions, if the stem ends in dt, m, or n, so a single m or n I should say, then an e is added before the t for pronunciation. And this is just so you don't have two t's in a row, a d and a t, an m and a t, because you really can't pronounce that. It's really hard to say. So in German we just add an e, so t becomes ette, and ettest, ette, etten, ettet, etten, respectively. So ich arbeitete means I worked. I was working. I did work. And haben. Haben's technically irregular because the stem hab becomes hat, but haben takes the regular weak verb endings. So it's quite simple. Ich hatte, du hattest, sie es hatte, wir hatten, hattet, sie hatten. Sehr gut. So, onto the irregular strong verbs. They're irregular because they change the stem vowel and sometimes the consonants. But unlike weak verbs, they do not add a t to the stem. So gehen is the infinitive. The stem is minus the en, so geh, and this vowel and consonants become ing. So ich ging, du gingst, sie es ging, wir gingen, ihr gingt, sie gingen. And if you've noticed, ich and sie es take no endings, whereas the other subjects take the regular endings. St for du, en for wir, t for ihr, and en for sie and sie. And sein is similar to the irregular verbs because it changes completely. So, but it follows the same exact pattern. Ich and sie es take no ending, so the stem is war, and then du takes st, du warst, wir waren, ihr wart, sie waren. So those are the simple past. Some examples. Aß einen Apfel zum Mittagessen. Wir fuhren letzten Sommer nach Frankfurt. Ich fand deinen Hund. Der Kellner gab uns früher die Rechnung. So we do the same exact thing in English before you complain. So he eats an apple versus he ate an apple. We drive versus we drove. I find versus I found. And der Kellner, the waiter gives versus the waiter gave. So we do the same exact thing in English. We have strong verbs as well. And please hang in there. We're almost finished, I promise. Present perfect. Present perfect is a way of expressing the past in German that's more common in everyday speaking. The simple past is more common in writing. So the present perfect consists of a conjugated present form of haben or sein, hence the word present, and the past participle, hence the word perfect. In language speak, perfect is referring to the past. So I bought, I was buying, I did buy are all expressed by ich kaufte, ich habe gekauft. They mean the same exact thing. The only difference between the simple past and the present perfect is that simple past is used in writing, so in books and newspapers and such, and present perfect is used in speaking, so when you're talking to people. You can use either to express the past. People will still understand you. But what's the past participle, you may ask? The past participle, an example in English, the infinitive to do becomes did in the simple past and done in the past participle. So do, did, done. In German, tun, the same exact meaning, becomes tat in the simple past and getan in the past participle. So the past participle is distinguished by the ge before a form of the stem. And like the simple past, there are weak verbs and strong verbs, and they behave differently. So weak verbs add a t to the end of the participle. Just like they did in the simple past, there is a t added. So lernte, gelernt. So ge and then a t. Reisen, reiste, gereist. Tanzte, getanzt. So it's pretty straightforward. Love weak verbs. And as before, if there's a t, an n, or an m, you add an et for pronunciation issues. Ich arbeitete, gearbeitet. Atmetete, geatmet. Öffnete, geöffnet. Zum Beispiel, ich habe heute Morgen gearbeitet. Hat an der Uni studiert. Wir haben Mittagessen schon gekocht. Sie haben 3 Stunden gewartet. Strong verbs. Strong verb participles add the ge like before, and like before they change their stem vowels and consonants, and the participle ends in an n, though, rather than a t. So t is for weak verbs. They're not as numerous as weak verbs, but they're very common activities, strong verbs are. So examples of strong verbs that we use all the time: essen, trinken, sprechen, gehen, schlafen. To eat, to drink, to speak, to go, to sleep. So really, you cannot function in life without strong verbs. So you need them. Zum Beispiel, trinken, trank, getrunken. Geben, gab, gegeben. Sprechen, sprach, gesprochen. So you see these stems here change in every form. So sprech becomes sprach, becomes spruch. Most past participles use haben as their conjugated verb. So ich habe gekocht, zum Beispiel. But some use sein, especially verbs describing motion and change of state. So fliegen, to fly, bleiben, to stay, sterben, to die, and fahren, to drive, all use sein as their conjugated verb, their helping verb. But most verbs do use haben, but these are very common verbs, so you'll have to just memorize them. Ist geflogen, ist geblieben, ist gestorben, ist gefahren. Because motion, motion, change of state, motion. Ich habe ein Buch auf Deutsch gelesen. Wir sind letztes Jahr nach Europa geflogen. Ist sehr schnell eingeschlafen. Habt gestern Nacht einen Brief geschrieben. So learning the irregular strong verbs. They are a pain. The easiest way is to group them together by similarity using the infinitive, the simple past, the past participle. For example, bleiben, blieb, ist geblieben. Schreiben, schrieb, geschrieben. Singen, sang, gesungen. Klingen, klang, geklungen. So you can see the vowels change similarly here. So if you group them together, it really is the easiest way to learn the strong verbs. And if you want more resources and practice, I'll be putting more links in the video description that will bring you to various websites and vocab, so you can practice on your own if you want. So thank you for making it through this video. Leave any questions in the comments and complete any further notes that you have.